Does online negativity bother you? Insulting comments on YouTube or Instagram videos, back and forth arguments for all to see on Facebook, political battles seemingly waged over Twitter, and mainstream media's amplification of negativity? I'm Sean from dishonorableSpeechandPolitics.com, and I'm here with 10 ways I believe you can start to help reduce the influence of online negativity with examples. Some of these ways you've probably heard before, but I'm willing to guess that, in particular, number 7 on this list, you probably haven't. So let's get started. Number 1. Don't respond to negative comments. Responding to these comments can make them more likely to get noticed and give them more influence. On many social media sites, if the account to which negative replies have been posted is yours, you can block users and/or delete negative comments. You may also be able to shut off all comments if you feel that the bad effects of the negative comments outweigh the good of the positive ones. And YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all have ways to report users who violate their policies, even if you aren't the person to whom they are replying or commenting hatefully. Number 2, if you choose to respond to negative comments, don't respond to negativity with negativity. Stated another way, don't hate on the haters. For example, if below some young woman's dance video a person commented, "You're an ugly troll," I don't think replying with, "How could you write such a horrible thing? What kind of person are you? Leave her alone," is likely to ultimately be helpful in reducing online negativity. I suggest we try to put away a punishment mentality, bringing instead a "how can I help this person and others" mentality. And yes, even, how could I help someone who would write such a thing as "you're an ugly troll" to another human being? Number 3, if you really feel it's best to respond to some comment you think is negative or inappropriate, try a private message when possible. This is especially good if you know the person in real life and you express some genuine care for how they're doing while at the same time addressing their comment. Their negative comment is likely a good indication they could use some caring, actually. People who are truly doing well emotionally don't typically write really negative stuff, in my experience. Going back to our ugly troll example, what you write in private message will depend on the exact circumstances and the nature of your relationship with the person, but let's say the guy who wrote it was one of your classmates and you know he was bullied as a kid, or that his parents were always critical of him and he never felt he was good enough in their eyes. An example of what one might write to him could be, "Hey, how are you? I saw your ugly troll comment on that girl's dance video. Is everything okay, man? I know we all go through hard times. I'm here if you want to talk." This might be enough for them to take down the comment without you even asking them to, because they probably didn't expect anyone to be expressing concern for them due to their comment. If you want to take it a step further and be more direct, you could continue with, "I know you had it pretty rough as a kid. I imagine you can understand it's probably going to be rough for that girl to read your comment. Would you maybe consider deleting it? Regardless, I hope you're well, and I hope to hear from you soon. Take care." What did I do there? I tried to inspire feelings of empathy in him, and I asked him to delete his message while still conveying that he had a choice in the matter. And I tried not to imply he was a bad person for writing such a thing, or would be a bad person if he didn't take it down. In my opinion, it's best to steer far away from any message that even hints of, "You're bad, change your ways." And that's a good lead-in to number 4. In responding to negative comments, both publicly and privately, don't focus on proving the other person wrong or bad. Maybe think about it as trying to help them see a different viewpoint, or perhaps even just trying to loosen up their take on things. That might be the best you can do. Similar to writing directly to someone you know, for the person you don't know, try to express care or at least not hostility when responding to their comment. Also realize that people who post negative things are hurting themselves with their posts, because they are spending their time being fearful and hateful rather than curious and joyful. However you decide to respond, I suggest keeping that in mind to help guide you. This person's already hurting themselves. Do I want to hurt them more, or do I want to try to make their life better? An example might be if someone wrote, "This whole pronoun controversy thing is such garbage." A response that tries to show they're wrong and bad might be, "You've obviously never been discriminated against, so your closed little mind clearly wouldn't understand you, bleep." To be clear, I don't recommend writing that. I might try something more like, "What do you think is garbage about it? And what do you mean by controversy exactly?" That, in the least, might inspire them to think about their view of things a little more precisely. Depending on what they come back with, if they seem open to a respectful dialogue, you might ask, "Do you think calling someone by their preferred pronoun is different from calling someone by their preferred name? If so, in what way?" Basically, I suggest trying to inspire critical thinking by the other person in the hopes that that may help them see past some of the prejudices they may have. Number 5, use humor to deflect and diffuse negative comments. I believe humor can be a great interrupt for a pattern of anger that can help blow off charge. I do think you have to be pretty careful with this though, as humor can sometimes be taken the wrong way, especially by people who don't know you. One example of using humor to try to diffuse things could be if two of your friends are arguing back and forth on Facebook about politics. You could write something like, "You guys could argue this all day, but it's clear to me that the only way to settle this, once and for all, is with a Nerf foam gun duel. I propose high noon tomorrow. Safety glasses on, of course." Would that actually work to get the online negativity to stop? I think it'd really depend on who the two friends were, how into the argument they were, and what their relationship was like with you and each other. You have to use your own judgment on that. Be careful with humor. That's all I'll say. Number 6. Post positive or at least neutral comments to dilute and lessen the effect of negative ones. Especially if the most recent comment is negative, write something positive and sincere so others see that first. It doesn't have to be something to try to negate the negative comment. In other words, if the most recent comment insults someone's attractiveness, you don't have to compliment them on being attractive. You can, but in a way you're giving an indirect response to the person who posted the negative comment, which may seem like a sort of reward to them. They got attention. Instead, I believe any type of positive comment or even neutral comment or question should do. For instance, if "you're an ugly troll" is the last comment on that hypothetical dance video I mentioned earlier, you could leave a comment of, "I love the enthusiasm you bring to your dancing. Thanks for sharing." Or even, "How long did it take you to choreograph this?" This is similar to changing the subject in an in-person conversation with someone when they start to go negative. Number 7. You could leave a suggested more honorable version of the person's comment. This is similar to a process called steel manning, in which you try to create the strongest version of another person's argument before arguing against that version. In this case, though, you don't argue against it. I've done this in limited trials on my YouTube channel where, for instance, a video called 5 Reasons to Speak Honorably About Trump Even If You Hate Him had only 34% likes and got a number of negative comments. For examples of how to write suggested more honorable versions, look at those YouTube comments and/or through some of the suggested more honorable versions of politicians' speech I provide on my website. Some things to look for and remove or modify are name-calling, insults, mocking, being disrespectful, offering opinion as fact, assuming bad intent, providing misleading or inaccurate information, and promoting hate or violence, among other things. You can check out my list of 37 categories of dishonorable speech for more ideas of what to look for and avoid when writing suggested more honorable versions of people's dishonorable negative comments. A disclaimer, this method is still experimental, and I honestly don't know if it's going to ultimately help reduce online negativity. I do believe, especially on a wide scale, it's worth a try though. Number 8. If you respond to someone's negative comment with something truly constructive that's meant to be helpful, and they still come back with more negativity, it's likely best to disengage. The more responses a comment gets, the more attention it's likely to get, so at some point, you're helping to amplify it. And if no one reacted to negative comments, many people would probably stop leaving them. Okay, these next 2 suggestions for ways to reduce the influence of online negativity require some work and character on your part. Number 9 is, to reduce the prevalence and influence of online negativity, reduce negativity in yourself. I believe we're always teaching others with our behaviors, so lead by example. Consider reading books or taking courses on reducing anger, especially if you don't consider yourself an angry person, because you might be in denial. Or even if you're not, you may find ways to help those around you who are often angry. One online course I like is on udemy.com, Anger Management Techniques That Actually Work. It has a perception management worksheet in Section 5, Video 18 that I think can be quite helpful if you use it regularly. The website personalexcellence.com also has some interesting techniques for removing anger from your life. I'll put a link to these in the description for this video. And I'm sure there are a lot of books out there on the subject. I haven't read any specifically on anger, but I like Happiness is a Choice and other books by Barry Neil Kaufman as a way to reduce anger by choosing happiness. I believe the less anger you have, the less likely you are to be reactive to someone's online post or comment, and the less likely you'll be to post something even subtly negative in response to it. Number 10. Number 10 also requires significant character in my opinion. It's don't click on negative clickbait, read negative mainstream media articles, or watch online videos of personalities who've built up a good part of their following by saying negative things, such as about the other side of the political spectrum from them. Some examples of headlines that may sound interesting but are best to not click on if you want to avoid supporting negativity are, from May 25, 2021 on foxnews.com, Time to Fire Fauci. Lawmakers have grown tired of doctors' COVID flip-flops. Or from May 26, 2021, an opinion piece on NewYorkTimes.com whose title appears to be a quote from someone. I didn't click on it, working on my character, you know. Republicans are very, very close to driving democracy into a ditch. or a May 26, 2021 opinion piece on WAPO.com, that's the Washington Post. Rarely has the GOP fixation on race shown all its ugly facets like this. Those are just a few examples I found recently. While they might sound interesting, when you click on articles, you're supporting them and more articles like them. So if you really do want to reduce the influence of online negativity, keeping in mind that social media negativity can be inspired by what people read in mainstream media, I'd suggest reconsidering clicking on such articles. That's my list of 10 ways you can help reduce online negativity. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Good luck staying positive out there, or I believe even more preferably, staying honorable out there. And thank you for watching.